Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Stars of VANR.
Had to remember where you were, right?
I did. Because not only has it been 2 weeks since I've been on this show, but we're on a new day. We used to be on Tuesdays from 3 to 4. Before the last time I did this, we were on Tuesdays. Now I come back from a 2-week hiatus, and we're on Mondays. No, we did that because we have a new show on Tuesdays starting tomorrow at 3 to 4 called Nevada Cannabis News Network. Dopers. They're actually a returning show that was on KLAV previously, and they needed Tuesday 3 to 4, and since, well, we own the station and we own that time, we just moved ourselves.
Do we get free cannabis?
We get free something or other. I am Aaron Phillips, back in the saddle on Stars of VANR with John JPEG Styles, who did a yeoman job the last couple of Tuesdays.
That means good, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. In my absence, one was because of meeting, one because I was in the hospital last week. So you know how those things go, John. So you did a great job with both Behind the Wheel 1 week, and
I had good guests.
And you had Bill Miller from the Vegas Lions.
Bill Miller was an awesome guest.
Yeah,
I'd have him back on anytime.
Excellent. And
he's
I'm,
got a great program going on there.
I'm trying to coax him to do some jazz shows Friday nights because he loves jazz.
Yeah.
Trying to coax him into that.
He'd like to do the Up All Night show.
I know he would. He'd love it. 4 hours of jazz with his voice. He was built for radio.
Yeah, we get him hooked up with Elizabeth Jones.
That's right. Hopefully that'll work.
Yep.
Their emails bounced. Unfortunately, the email that I had on her card bounced back, but I gave him her phone number. Okay, good. So hopefully he'll make contact via phone. Good. So anyway, a lot going on here. We have a few new shows debuting this week. Just check out the program schedule on VegasAllNetRadio.com. But
that means he can't remember what they are.
That's very true. I can't remember right now. That's very true. But in today's Spotlight, we had them on Vegas Unwrapped not too long ago, back in September. They debuted in October. Christine Essex and Jeff Reynolds from Luminosity Wellness Radio joins us today on Spotlight. Hey, guys, how are you?
Great, thank you.
Good, very good.
Hey, I got to tell you, I've obviously, I listen to all the shows, obviously, but you guys have been on the air now a month, and I got to tell you something. I love what you're doing on the show. Great guests, great interaction. You guys are on it, and I think you're really bringing some new, exciting things to the listenership that they didn't know existed. I think it's wonderful. You guys are hitting it out of the park.
Esoterically metaphysical.
Oh, there we go.
Whatever that means.
Holistically,
esoterically metaphysical.
That's correct. Yeah.
And you guys are hitting it out of the park. So you guys are off to a great start, and I love it. So good job.
Oh,
thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, the premise of the show, when we chatted, Christine called me probably back in August originally. Ironically, she called in. We were just wrapping up a Star show.
Right. And
she called into the studio, and I called her back after the show. We chatted a little bit, and then she took what we talked about back to the board of folks at the Luminosity Wellness Center.
Which is awesome. If you haven't been there, go
yeah,
down there.
And we'll talk a little bit about that. I mean, the radio show is really a microcosm off the center, because you have, couple of dozen practitioners of the different holistic modalities. But let's kind of go back to the beginning before we talk about the show. Let's talk about the center itself. How did it get started? Why did it get started? And how did you guys get into the holistic practices?
Well, it started with, I always say with a dream, right? Because that's where it began. And I had been in practice by myself since 1999, different clinics or offices and things like that. And then in 2013, someone approached me because, again, they were divinely guided to. In resistance, they were like, no, and I said, what? Yes, of course I'll meet you, right?
Sure.
I'm always interested. And then it kind of came about that it was time to start the dream, and I was like, really? Okay, well, let's see what you got.
Right.
And so threw out a couple tasks. The tasks were handled, and then the final one was find a building, and it met our needs perfectly. So then it was like, okay, we're going to keep going, right? Because there's a purpose and a reason higher and bigger than ours, my own. And so then it was like, yes, okay. And within a little bit of time, I think within a couple of months of getting our office, then Melody, another practitioner, was drawn in, and after our grand opening. So we went in June, and in November we had our first official grand opening.
November of when?
Of 2013.
Okay.
And so then the Melody came right after that, and then Jeff followed shortly after that because Mika, one of the clever healers around town, whatever she's practiced. She actually was one of Jeff's students.
No, actually, it was her husband that was my student, Joseph.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
Joseph. So Mika had an event, and Jeff attended it, and so then he saw the value and joined us. And what had happened prior to that was, once the center got going, there was a bigger vision that was attached to that, and it's a holistic hospital. And down the street from where I live was this like 4-story, 3-story building that sat empty for 3 years.
Wow.
Off of Montecito, over by there. And so then are you familiar with the area?
A little bit.
Okay, so then there's Durango,
Right.
and there was all these empty buildings as well.
Right.
And all I could see was like the university that fed the hospital.
Oh, there you go.
And so I was like, that was the big, big vision. So I kind of mapped it all out and put it on dream boards,
Sure.
talked about it, and Jeff got to see the actual rendition of that. But it was, everything is a process. So I was also writing a book. I don't even know if you know about the book.
No.
It was called A Luminosity Wellness Journey. So I took 10 people that I had been journeying with over all the years, brought them together, and said, and it actually was 11 with me. And I encouraged, so while I'm writing a business plan for Luminosity Wellness
writing the
Center,
book.
writing the book
Okay.
simultaneously together.
And one could have really had everything to do with the other. They could have intertwined very easily.
Yeah, and so I saw all these people being involved in the center, as our outside support or inside, whichever it had happened. So I encouraged them all to write a chapter, and we all did, a chapter of our lives, how, who we were today, how life wasn't always this way, and then what lessons we learned. So there was an outline for it, and we wrote 11 pages.
Oh, wow.
Okay, each. And so then but I really wanted 12. Okay, 12 chapters. So the 12th chapter was left open for you, the reader, that
fill
when
in.
you bought it,
Oh,
you
wow.
followed the same outline, right?
Okay.
So now it became like it's ongoing things. The very first one we ever did was called A Luminosity Wellness Journey.
Very cool.
And each of their stories is represented in that. So it was pretty fascinating, and then that kind of grew, and then more people came, and it's been interesting because the whole time it wasn't about really kind of going out and finding people. Like, these were all people I journeyed with. The people who end up in the center are ones, they just happen in the door.
Sure.
Right? And
Yeah.
they happen in, they get involved in one way or another, they feel the connection, and then they want to play.
They feel the good energy.
Right. So it just kind of kept growing. Now the hospital, they rented it out. They rented a floor or something to this telephone company.
Okay.
So it's not really gone. It's just
Repurposed.
for a while.
Okay.
Because I believe that that's where we're heading. And at Luminosity, we're doing it nice and slow and at a pace that works because of the study that we're doing, that self-healing is real. And all the things that we're putting into play, like in November now, we'll be shifting gears a little bit more. Luminosity will begin to, because the end result is to create a duplicatable model,
Okay.
right? And something that can be duplicated in other countries, other states. And so this is kind of what do we call it? I don't really want to call it a guinea pig, but it's the model,
Sure.
right? It's the process. So we're constantly upgrading and changing the direction in order to bring the clarity, so it can just be, I can say to you,
Here it
Erin,
is.
yeah,
Right.
this is start to finish, and this is what it looks like. So we decided that it's best to do it in a license kind of a format versus a franchise format.
Okay.
And
Because
there's-
franchise was the first word that jumped into my head when you were talking about all the different locations.
Right, and so
Okay.
licensing it would be more like a Disney type. There's a certain way, and the holistic has to be
Right.
kept into the
Within the parameters.
Yes.
Right.
So it
Makes
can't
sense.
be turned into just any business kind
So
of
the
thing.
current location where the center is now, which is on Smoke Ranch in Tenaya, diagonally across from Cimarron Memorial Hospital. Cimarron Memorial might as well be a hospital. Cimarron Memorial High School.
Yeah.
How long have you been in that location?
3 years.
3 years. So that was the existing location that
Yeah.
you were talking
The
about.
very first,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, it's right there on
Oh.
the corner.
Yeah, so if it sounds like we moved, what we did was we did move, and we went from one side of the building where we were in 4 rooms to start,
Right.
and then outside rooms.
Right.
So we had, 4 more rooms outside, 4 to 5. And so then we went behind glass doors together, so we went from like 1,200 square foot to 5,000 square
Wow.
foot.
Wow. Now, Jeff, your background, you're originally from construction before you got into the holistic modalities, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I had a construction business for almost 20 years. Well, I was in the construction business for almost 20 years. I
Right.
had my own business for, I guess, just a little over 10 years.
Okay. And so how and when did you decide to make the shift out of construction into what you're doing now?
Well, that was kind of made for me thanks to the economy collapsing.
Funny how that forces everybody's hands.
Yeah, at the time it didn't seem so pleasant, but it actually was one of the best things that has happened to me. I did lose everything. I mean, literally lost everything.
Sure.
So that actually gave me a freedom because I was no longer tied down to any of my old habits, any of my old life. And I was able to make that change. I was able to devote everything into this. And so that's what I did. I was lucky enough to take a self-help training right before the economy collapsed and I lost everything. So I was able to stay in a good state of
So you're
mind.
already a little bit ahead of the game, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. I was starting to realize about how to handle my energy and how I give my energy and hold my energy and all of that. And I just was starting to understand how it worked throughout all of my life, just not how communicating with people, but how you give your energy to certain things that you do for work and
Sure,
stuff. So
sure.
I started realizing that, and it was like, okay, I could either put my energy back into recreating a tile business, and at that time I had no idea when the economy was going to come back. And
If it was even going to come back.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And the other thing was that awful feeling of I didn't even do anything, and the next thing I know, I'm penniless. You
Right.
know, I went from making $20,000 a month to zero overnight, basically, because the guy I was working for, unfortunately, he lost everything too. He was spread out too much, and so we lost things right off the bat.
Right.
And but like I said, it was actually a blessing in disguise. I was actually strong enough to be able to look at it in a new way and say, here's a perfect opportunity to restart my life and an even better opportunity to follow my dreams. And so that's exactly what I did. I had a passion for this. I had a few people that had shown me this way because, like a lot of people out there, I didn't know. I always believed this existed, but I had never had anybody really show me that it
Right,
was there
right.
until I was introduced to a doctor here in town, Dr. Randall Roberts, who is absolutely amazing. And he was the first person that I was introduced to that did theta healing or any type of energy work. And he was absolutely amazing. I had a really bad back from doing construction, and I mean, I could barely walk. I had a cramp in my right leg. I mean, I was really tore up at the time. And I went in to see him, and he sat there and was like, you know, has something to do with you and your father around age 11. Do you know what that is? And I remember what emotional issue that was because it was the one time I felt I really stood up to my dad, or the first time. And so it was a big thing in my life, but he recalled that area of my life and that experience, and so it had to relate with that, the back injury. So he did a few things, and at the time I had no idea what he was doing. I was just like, what is going on here? But he did a few things, and you know, he's actually a chiropractor as well too, but he never adjusted my back at all. And then he was like, you know what? All right, we'll see you in a few weeks when your body starts healing up. And I'm like thinking to myself, what do you mean?
You didn't do anything.
Yeah, he didn't adjust me at all. I was just seeing another chiropractor
Right.
4 times a week, getting the electric shock therapy, the whole 9
Sure,
yards,
sure.
and nothing. And I walked out of there in pain because my muscles and everything were so knotted up for probably 3-4 months, and so they just didn't go right back into place.
Right.
But when I noticed is when I went to bed later that night. If you've ever had a really bad back problem, you know, laying in bed sometimes is the worst thing because you have that slight movement and everything locks up. So I had my routine, getting all my clothes off and laying in bed perfectly flat and then trying not to move the whole night. And then in the middle of the night, I wake up and I had to do that little bit of movement, and I'm like, oh no. And I moved and nothing. And I'm like, my God.
No
it was
pain,
like
no nothing.
Yeah, it was just like, I still had the pain in my muscles. It took a few days
Sure.
for those to truly go away, but the knots and everything were gone. I finally could move again. I was just like amazed.
Wow.
And so that was my introduction to it.
And how long
that's
ago
just-
was that?
That was actually probably early 2000, around maybe 2000, 2001 when I first was introduced to him.
Gotcha.
And then it wasn't until 2009 where I took my journey and started to study.
Gotcha. Good place to take a break. We're quarter number 1 is in the books there, Miss Beth. By the way, Beth's on the board with us today. Also because with our
Hello,
change,
Beth.
who would we would it be Lawrence now that since we're off with Tuesday? Is Lawrence our would
Yeah,
be
Lawrence will be our normal,
a regular board out
if
now
you
that we're
can
on
call
Mondays?
Lawrence normal.
Well, I don't know. He's in jury duty. He should
Yeah.
be able to get off without a problem. So.
Yeah, all he's got to do is tell him he works for us.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you're listening to Stars of VANR. Today in the hot seat, co-hosts Jeff and Christine from Luminosity Wellness Radio. More with them right after this. All right, welcome back to Stars of VANR. Our call-in line is 702-483-4444. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're gambling, you have a full house of 4s in that number, you'd be paid off pretty darn good around this joint here. Of course, don't try to cash in at this place because you wouldn't get very far. A cup of coffee is about all we can pay out around here. So anyway, you're listening to Stars of VANR. Jeff and Christine, co-hosts of Luminosity Wellness Radio, which airs right here on this very network Thursdays from 3 to 4 p.m., right in the middle of our best day of the week on the radio. Thursday is our busiest day for radio here. So,
And longest.
And longest day. And they're only going to get longer if I have anything to do with it.
And it gets dark earlier now.
That's true. It'll be dark in about an hour. You know, I laid down for a nap yesterday afternoon. By 4 o'clock, I couldn't see in the bedroom. It was pitch black already. I'm like, oh, great. So anyway, all right, welcome back. Now, Jeff, we talked to you about your background before you got into this. You were in construction, tiling, and you've been doing this since 2009. Christine, what was your background before you got into the holistic world? I mean, obviously, you probably weren't born to, you might have been born to do it, but you have been practicing it all these years. What's your background?
So true. Well, actually, you know, I have been an entrepreneur since I'm in my 20s. So Rick and I own a 7-Eleven. So in my 20s, we owned a 7-Eleven on Teddy Drive in Sahara.
Oh, right on the corner over there. Oh, okay.
And so we did that. And then, of course, I was a mommy, raised my children. And then I decided I wanted to we redid a house. And I thought, oh, I like, maybe I should get into construction because I loved it so much. And Rick says, are you serious? And I said, well, I don't know. I just enjoy it. And he goes, how about interior design? And I went, wow, okay, I think that's up my alley. It's almost natural. So I went to school for interior design, started a business called Window Framing by Design.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I had that for years and was doing well. I just wasn't passionate about it, and it wasn't as much fun doing it to get paid.
Okay.
Does anybody understand that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So the fun was gone now, and I was like, okay, and I just kind of put out to the universe, I want to do something different. And in a meditation, I said, I want to be a therapist. And they said, what kind? I go, I don't know, but I don't want to go to school. I'm too old for that. They said, okay. And I said, all right. So then I went to a seminar and I wrote down, bring me the people to show me the way I'll make a really good decision. Within the 2 weeks, I was enrolled in hypnotherapy school.
Oh, wow.
Closed my business and was enrolled in hypnotherapy school in 1999.
Okay.
So that was my turning point, where
Wow.
it was like, I'm going to commit to this the rest of my life because I'd found, a direction, a passion. And so, and I got committed to being certified in 1999. This way, when you asked me, Christine, how long have you been in hypnotherapy? I
Right.
could say, since 1999, because we were about to change to 2000, and
That's
it didn't
right.
sound as impressive. So I worked fast, and so from there I went on to NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming,
Okay.
and became a trainer of that. And at the same time that I was doing that, then I got my bachelor's in clinical hypnotherapy.
Okay.
And studied many other forensic hypnosis. Have you ever heard of that?
Well, if it's anything like what they did on CSI,
Right.
with forensic hypnosis, where they put people into a meditative state to talk about a crime scene or things they don't think they saw, right?
Right, so you help the witnesses and victims recall their information.
Okay. From the
with-
subconscious, right?
From the unconscious, yeah.
Oh, the
subconscious, yeah. It's. I just chose unconscious. Yes, definitely. But you have to videotape and audio tape the
Right.
entire thing to make sure that I'm not implanting things
Right.
into that. So it's a whole process. And I learned from one of the marshals that was getting ready to retire in Texas. And I thought, yeah, I want to learn from him.
Right.
So I did, and I don't do it currently, although I just wanted it as part of my resume.
Sure.
And the forensic is actually knowing, forensic is you're an expert witness. That's
Okay.
what forensics means.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're an
So
expert witness.
Yeah, so if there's a forensic in front of something, then it means they're an expert witness and can go on trial to
Forensic
testify.
radio host.
See, there you go. You guys are forensic radio hosts.
Oh my goodness! You know, it's interesting you talk about passion because I joke with my wife. Well, it's not a joke, but I say this to my wife. Prior to purchasing the station with John and Ricky, you know, I spent a year selling home security systems because I needed a job. I needed to put money on the table. So it was interesting, but not to the point where I had a passion for it, and I made money. I mean, I had a salary plus commission. Here, after all these years of 6.5 years of being on the internet and 3 years on 10 years of chasing this thing, now I'm finally doing something that I have the passion for, and ain't
we're
no
not
money
getting
going to the table. I ain't paid. No, I mean,
I know. Right?
thank
Yeah.
God those 7-Elevens carry bananas at the cash register. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me about it,
You know,
right?
so-
Now we're volunteers for our own
Absolute
business.
sweat equity was born right here
Right?
by owning your own company.
That's right.
But you know what though? I believe that if you have the passion will see you through. I mean, we're doing this 6 months. We do see the light at the end of the tunnel, the growth that we've made. And anytime I guess you jump into something new at any point in your life, it's scary as all get out. But you have to have the belief and the passion for what you're doing to know that it's A, the right choice, and B, you're going to have the success in the end. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And also, it's just what we do is just really starting to open up here in the United States.
Right.
And so we have to work with that as well, too, and be able to get this information out so people understand exactly what it is.
Well, and that's what the base of the radio show is. That's a great segue, Jeff, because, you have, and we'll talk about the center in conjunction with the show. The day I came down to that, I met you that day, and I took the tour with Nancy. The minute I walked back with her into where the offices start, I felt the energy. Okay, I felt the change of energy from the minute you walk out of that reception area and you start walking to the offices. And there's at least 24 practitioners, maybe more. How many practitioners are in the community, as you guys like to call it?
I think we're about 16 right now, I would say.
Yeah, I think we have 17 rooms. So yeah, we're
Okay.
Yeah, and we have some volunteers that come in and
Yep.
out as well, too. But
Okay.
the permanent ones, I want to say we're right about 16.
Now, does that include the couple that are on the other side on the walkway in the other building? You have a couple
Oh
on the
yeah,
other building,
no,
right?
No, that doesn't include them
include them.
anymore.
And,
Okay.
and the people that rent rooms for us. So yeah,
Okay,
we have
gotcha.
a couple dozen when it comes to
To everybody
yeah.
inclusive. Okay. Now, talk about the different types of modality. Now, first explain the specialty modality that you guys specialize in at the center, and then let's talk about the different kinds of modalities that are available at the center, because obviously everybody has different beliefs of what they want to believe in the holistic world. So let's talk about what you guys specialize in, and then talk about what else is there.
So go ahead, Jeff.
All right, I will start. I have studied a few different type of modalities. I am a tuned Reiki master. I've also learned some shamanic work and crystal layouts and a bunch of fun stuff that teaches you things about energy, but the main thing that I do is theta healing.
Okay.
That's the one that I find that really resonates with me. It resonates with the way I look at things, the way I look at the world, and I really like the techniques behind there.
Explain theta a little bit more in detail for the common man what that means.
Okay, so theta healing, of course, works with the theta brainwave.
Okay.
Okay, we are trained to be able to achieve the theta brainwave and sustain a theta brainwave, and then that's where we do our work from, is that theta brainwave. And
Okay.
in that theta brainwave, you can start to connect to that higher power, God, whatever you want to call it, but you connect to that higher power. And
The
with
force.
that, yes, the Force, of course. Well, truly, when I was younger and the first time I saw Star Wars, I sat there and was like, you know what, we can do that.
That's
Right.
right.
And my full belief is we can, and Theta Healing definitely backs that up, because I will get into the technique, but since we're there with the Force, Theta Healing has taught me how to use my intuitive abilities, how to use my psychic abilities. So in that theta brainwave, when you make that connection into that creative energy, there you can go and like I said, connect with basically anything. It's as far as your beliefs will allow you to go. And then that's the good segue into the great part with theta healing is we do a process called digging. Okay, that's where the healing aspects really come in. Is so you might have some issues in your life, like say you're cold, okay, or the cough that you just had. There's probably some emotional issues that are behind that. Okay, and so that's what I'm designed to do, is find out what emotional issues are behind there.
Gotcha.
And so if you came to me, if you didn't come with a specific ailment, then what I would do is I would just go in, I would tap into that theta energy, and I would be able to go in and start to tap into your body and look into your body and see and have that energy actually guide me to what is the most prominent area in the body that needs attention right there.
Gotcha.
It could be your emotions, it could be a physical issue, it could be a lot of different things, you know, and even if you want to go there and believe in that, it could be from past life experiences and stuff. I truly believe in that. From the things that I've seen with my work, I definitely believe in past lives, and I believe our spirit will just continue living. We will not die, we just transcend into a new experience. But we are here to live experiences. So we choose on to certain experiences, whether they're good or bad, but it's our perception of that experience. So with theta healing and the digging process, how we go and dig down, we work on the subconscious level, but it's also showing you your perception of that experience and how you originated that experience. And you go down to a bottom belief. The bottom belief, what we call the bottom belief, is where that experience originated. So for kids from the ages from 2 years old to 6 years old are in a constant theta brainwave, or that's the main brainwave they're going to be in. And the reason for that is in that age area, you're starting to learn to catch up with society intelligent-wise. You've already started to get all your motor skills and everything. Now you need to catch up mentally.
Okay.
And so you're in that theta brainwave, and you're constantly downloading all the information around you, starting to learn your environment and everything. But the problem is, they're your dad's belief, your mother's beliefs, your aunt and uncle's beliefs. They're not your beliefs. And so when we get older and get into our adult lives, now these beliefs start to counteract what we truly feel inside.
Gotcha.
And so they can become restricting. And so, or you have negative experiences where maybe you feel like I'm unworthy, you know, and you could be unworthy in a lot of issues. So we find where that originated, or where that issue is right now, how it's affecting you now, and then we work it down to where it originated from, and then we start to reprogram you to start to have the positive aspects of that.
Cool. Christine?
Yeah, Jeff and I are very similar. You know, clinical hypnotherapy is also using the, I call it the unconscious mind.
Okay.
And so with my training with the NLP and the hypnotherapy, I created a process called Upgrade the Software of Your Mind. So I'm helping people to manage their internal systems.
Okay.
And so basically when I'm working with a client, it's they come in and they have a certain situation that they need resolution on, or they're uncertain of. So we just start exploring, if you will. I use mostly NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, than the old school hypnosis.
Okay.
I love hypnosis because it is the tool to program yourself, you know, and at the same time, we don't have time that they used to have.
Right.
We run way too quickly, so we need to give them, I help them to learn how to keep the past where the past was, get back into present, and then create their future.
Okay.
So constantly moving in the direction toward where they want to be instead of away from where they don't want to be. So they can tell their story, and it's a story, but you know, the past is 5 seconds ago.
Sure.
So what is the point? Can we change it? No. Can we acknowledge it? Can we look at it? Can we explore it? Yes. What are those, like Jeff was saying, what are the beliefs that are placed in there? Once we can go through that, then we come back to present and then get them very clear about where they're going and what they'll need to do to get to that direction. So it's a very fascinating, fun, very quick work that we're doing, and it's the mind, body, and spirit connecting and utilizing all of them. And the person that my best client is someone who is intellectually aware and is stuck. Like they've been to every kind of class, they've done all the work, they've lived life, and all of a sudden
But they still can't break through.
They can't break through. Those are my best clients because then we kind of get to whatever that is at the moment, and then right through, and then they leave always feeling better. Some clients will sit there and say, "I've been in therapy for 20 years, and we did more in 2 hours than I've ever done in." and even wanting to change careers, like I told you, I went from interior designer to this. I didn't want to be a psychologist, and I didn't want to be a psychiatrist, because they were limited in what they could actually do with people, what they could share about themselves, all of it. So I was like, no, we need to find a way to really help people in a way that benefits them. So Jeff and I, theta healing, I think, and hypnotherapy are very similar. It's about accessing parts of themselves and reprogramming themselves to get the results that they actually want in their lives.
Perfect. I mean, it sounds like a good combination between both for a nice success formula between what you two offer. We come back on the other side of the break. I want to find out more about the other practitioners in the center, the types of things you have going on at the center. I know you had a great event this past Friday, but what other things are coming up in the future for the center as well? You're listening to Stars of VANR here on the all-new Vegas All Net Radio. Luminosity Wellness Radio is in the house with Jeff and Christine, with JPEG and Aaron Phillips. Beth's on the board. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. The band decided to change it up here. No, boys are back in town. Rejoiner.
We started with that.
Oh, that's just our intro?
That's just our intro.
Oh, okay. I wasn't listening to the other break.
Do you ever watch the videos?
No.
You should watch the videos for our show. Okay.
I should. Yeah, it's only about 600 videos I'd have to watch between them all.
That's all right. That's right.
So, but I was talking to Christine during the breaks. That's why I wasn't even listening to our breaks. Anyway, welcome back to Stars of VANR. Luminosity Wellness Radio joins us here in studio today. Jeff and Christine. Hear them every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. Pacific Time right here on VegasAllNetRadio.com. Not only on the VANR downloadable app, but Tune In is a new downloadable radio app that you can now catch all the shows of Vegas All Net Radio. So we continue to expand how you can listen to us without having to be anchored down to your computer.
And actually, if you go out and buy a new Chevy or GM car,
get it right in your car.
You can listen to us in your car.
That's right, with your Wi-Fi
they
connection.
Now have
Is the app already downloaded in the car?
The Wi-Fi connection's already in the car.
They have Wi-Fi built into the car now.
You can just
the
download
new
it.
Chevys and GMCs. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
So
John,
cool.
during the break, you mentioned you had a couple of questions before we get back to the
Yes, I do, as a
center.
matter of fact. I do. Okay, so you have what you've been calling modalities, or different types of approaches to whatever people are coming in. Do you find that people will gravitate to a certain modality based on their needs, or is it something that if you have someone that comes in and talks to you and says, listen, Christine, I need some help and I want to do this, this, and this, and you say to them or to yourself, you know, I think that you would be better served if you were doing this or doing that, or do you find that that's something that you direct them, or they just come in and they're naturally, yep, this is the place I need to be?
It's a great question. And yes, I do referrals. We refer to each other because I'm not an aromatherapist or an herbologist or a Reiki practitioner. So when somebody comes in and says they need something in that field or that line, I definitely.
But what if they don't know? If
I
were to walk in the door and say, I need some help.
What I love about that is we're in the process of creating an assessment.
Okay.
So that we could right away tell you after you fill out your assessment to give you direction to maybe even the perfect team that might be good for you, or the best practitioner to meet your needs. So
Excellent.
Thank you for that. That's a great question. Yeah. Because how do you know? You just know you want to make a change.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's where we'll be able to tell you based on the way you answer your questions as to who's the best.
Sure, and
suited
for some reason I wandered in here, and I've done that. Wandered into a store for some reason and found exactly what I was looking for.
That's because you've been lost and the home's looking for you. That's why.
I'm always lost.
That spirit leading you your way.
Yeah, and I try to, as much as possible, pay attention to that.
Yes.
Because the only downside is look where it's gotten me. Yeah.
Well, I don't. We
Lucy, you got a lot
can
of-
talk about that. You
got a
know,
lot of splaining to do.
I'll give you a complimentary session, John, for that one.
Okay, great. But seriously, I mean, I've kind of been involved in this kind of thing most of my
time,
life,
yeah.
and my major in high school and college was psych, and same as you, I realized I'd been in construction kind of up to that point, and realized I can make a heck of a lot more money in construction than I can hanging out a shingle, and this is all you can do.
Right.
You can do this, and this, but that's not really where I wanted to be or where I wanted to go. So, whew.
Well, and you weren't supported back then either.
No, not at all.
You were a lot.
Well,
yeah, it wasn't good.
I hate to say that, but there was a lot of shit going on back
Yep.
there. I mean, this was back in the 60s
Yep.
and early 70s, and, you had successful living seminars and, every day in every way, and cybernetics, and, you name it, it was there. So.
And so yeah, it was. You were the forerunner for us.
Yeah, we were the weirdos.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not saying
He
that.
was the guinea pig.
I was the guinea pig. Yes, I was. And look where it's gotten me.
Still
And,
working
and
for
as
free.
miserable as I am, I'm happier than I've ever been. How's that?
That's perfect.
That's the point.
That is the point.
So,
But not to be, in a miserable spot.
No.
Be
We're
happy.
but we're getting away from that.
we're working on it. At the center, just real briefly, talk about some of the other available modality practitioners, and then talk about some of the events that you guys put on for the community, like the one that you just had this past weekend, and such. Talk about what you may have upcoming, what's going on at the center.
All right, well, I'll talk about a few of the modalities that I know that some of them do. Is one, I'll start out with Reiki. Reiki is a really nice modality that you can channel energy through and use your energy to actually remove blocks out of other people's energy. So kind of look like in a way I want to talk like an energy massage. So when you go to get a massage, a lot of times your muscles are all knotted up. The Reiki in the same way, you're going to be able to channel the creative energy through you and be able to use that energy and put it onto wherever the block is. And that knot in your muscle is an energetic block. And so that's exactly where they would be working and sending that energy there in order to start to break that up and dissolve that, which then in return is going to work on whatever emotional issue as well that is attached to that soreness.
Okay.
Because with every soreness or any issue, ailment, you're going to have an emotional issue attached to it as well too. So with Reiki, you do a lot of channeling and channeling your energy through to be able to remove the negative energy.
And yoga too. Explain how in yoga that same philosophy is used.
Yeah, yoga is the same
Movement.
thing. It's the movement, the stretching, all of that allows your energy to flow through the body better. So with all of that movement, it just starts to flow better, and it's really amazing. I highly recommend yoga to everybody, especially if you think you're too overweight to do yoga. There's low impact yoga, and that gets the body moving. And that's the biggest thing with somebody that's overweight is let's get the body moving. And so doing slow impact yoga is very, very important. We have a very amazing yoga instructor there, Stephanie Jensen. I was going to say her last name first, so I was starting to stutter there. But she's absolutely amazing. I take sessions from her. Wonderful lady. She does one-on-one sessions, and then she also does group sessions with Luminosity, and then also at parks and other places as well too.
And aromatherapy, herbology, Melody. Melody's one of the first practitioners. She actually has a aroma profile that she can do with you,
Okay.
which kind of meets what you were asking, John. And she sits with them and goes through it, and then picks the best formula, if you will, and it's all natural oils. And she can take it from plant-based all the way through.
Okay.
She's very highly educated. And then we have also Laura Cantu, who specializes in Soma, Aura, or one of those. It's these oils that she has, half and half. I don't know a lot about them, although it would be good to have Laura
I'll
on the
explain
show.
what I know about it, but there's some modalities there that we are even unfamiliar
Sure.
with, but that's the awesome thing with us. We get to experience all these new
Right.
things when they come through the door.
Right.
But with Laura Cantu, what I understand from what she does is she does color therapy, a lot of things with color therapy.
Okay.
So she has the jars with different colors in there, and in her room she probably has 60 different vials of different colors up there, and you would go up there and pick a vial, and then depending on whatever colors is in there, it explains your
Right.
emotions or something
Gotcha.
to that.
Perfect.
I have to ask the obvious question because we have someone in our group. What do you do with somebody that's colorblind?
You don't go to that. You don't go to that
You
particular.
have to go someplace else. Yeah, you go to the aroma. Go to the aromatherapy other than the color
Right.
therapy.
They could probably energetically close their eyes and pick one that would equally support them,
Right.
you know, because
Yeah,
I think on an energetic level, each color has
Right.
a vibration.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you're going to be drawn to whichever one you needed to pick up.
Yeah.
Just like you said, you were drawn to certain stores and
Right.
stuff. That's our inner intuition calling us. So if we listen to that, that's what it is. And so, yeah, a lot of times when the therapists or practitioners are working with the people in that way, at least that's my take on it. It's their intuition going to what the one they needed.
So we have Hope too. Hope's fairly new with this, and she does a lot of doTERRA. She has a machine that you can put your hand on, and it will read the body.
Analyze it. Yeah, I've seen that
so,
before.
So that's quite new. We haven't got to play a whole lot with that. We have an aura machine as well that takes a picture of you and can tell your aura, and then there's a whole story that goes with that. And Laura brought that in with her. And so then we've kind of hit that hall. We have what we call Serenity Hall. It has a waterfall playing in it.
Yeah, I like
the
that one,
music
yeah,
is scattered.
Yeah, we also
Then-
have a sound room that is sound therapy. So it's specially designed by Regina Murphy, and so you'll sit in the chair, put on a CD. It has certain sounds in there to create the vibrations that start to heal the organs and different aspects of the body. And it's working just the same aspect as Reiki and all that. It's the energy flowing through the vibration that's starting to dissolve blocks and stuff like that, whether it's emotional blocks or physical blocks.
Frequencies.
Yeah, the
It's the
frequencies.
frequencies that come in and sound. They're learning a lot about sound frequencies.
And it is awesome. Let me tell you, you go in there, the surround sound from the chair and everything, the dark room. You got videos of either dolphins swimming or whatever.
that. Yeah, when
you
I was there, that
know.
was
Yeah,
awesome.
there's even one with pictures of like Rome and stuff, but it's really, really relaxing. So you want to get away for 20, 30 minutes, it's the perfect thing.
Nice.
And then we have Dr. Bob, who's a chiropractor, also a kinesiologist
Okay.
who works with people, and he was doing organ readings at our event.
Okay.
We have Juliana Char. I think you've met Juliana a couple
She
times,
was
right?
on, whose show was she on?
Possibilities.
Possibilities
Yeah.
with Dr. Ada, right?
Yeah,
Very-
she did a reading with Bobcat.
Yes.
Yep.
She is an amazingly talented young woman
Yes, she
who's
is.
spiritually connected, and she has a host of modalities. She studied intensely in theta. She does EFT. She does
Seraphim
all
Blueprint,
all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah, and there's some other divine.
Yeah,
She
I'm
does
not
a whole
going there.
bunch of things.
yeah, and she just connects. She's able to connect with you on that spiritual level and help you go to your next level.
Now, what are some of the events that you put on for the community? Talk about what you just did this past Friday, and then any other events coming up. Because obviously, and I'm going to segue it this way for a reason. Part of doing the radio show when you and I first talked, Christine, was
Right.
that we wanted to educate the listener about holistic modalities and what's available out there, and as well as the center.
Right.
So in order to not only do the radio show to get it out there, but you're also bringing a lot of activity to the community for them to touch and feel. It's like kicking the tires on a car.
Yeah.
So talk about this past Friday and if you have any other events that you have coming up at the center.
Well, Friday we had the Night of the Unknowns, and there were 24 readers there.
Wow.
So there were, Jeff was doing, I think, theta healings, and we had color readings, we had pine cone readings, we had psychics, mediums. We had a few of them on the show up in October just to kind of bring it all to light.
Right.
Pet readers, fingerprint readers. We had, it was amazing the amount of people, and they were all professionals. Okay, so it wasn't like somebody who said, "Oh, you know, I can read a pine cone."
Sure,
There was
sure.
no BS at all involved. These were professional people who all donated their time to help educate the community on what is possible and what they could do to expand their own awareness. So it was a very fun event, successful event. We probably had over 100 people through there.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and it was fun. We all dress up and have a blast with it. And so that was that. And we have had a Swami come in for a weekend, and that was quite unique from India. And this coming up we have all kinds of things, some yoga events, theta meditations Jeff does, and I'm a little behind in our November calendar because I was just praying to be done with October. So we're in the beginning of November, and it's like, oh yeah, today I get to catch up a
There
little
you go.
bit about what we have going on.
Okay.
I just know people have been saying, put me down. Oh, Brad Travis.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys know
Oh,
Brad?
yeah, sure.
He's on the 7th, I believe it is. He's doing a crystal
Oh.
workshop there.
Crystal
and he
Blue
was one of
Persuasion.
our, he was
Crystal
one of
glasses.
our practitioners who came, and he dressed as a crystal and gave healings
Oh, wow.
all
Yeah.
night. So he was a blast. I actually got one at the end, and I needed it. So good.
Yeah, so the
Website for Luminosity.
website for Luminosity is luminocitywellnesscenter.com.
Okay. And all the events and activities you'll be able to find on the website as well as practitioner information.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Phone number or contact
70
information.
yeah 702-721-9355, which stands for well.
Oh, there you go.
See?
We tried to get a phone number with the VANR. They just laughed at us because there was no combinations available, so we got stuck. Talk about, real quickly, your lineup possibly for this week's show, for Thursday.
Well, we were talking about, Jeff and I were shooting around bringing in some of our, bringing in each of us a client that we've worked with who could express or share their experience of the work that we do. And that could kind of give listeners a chance to call in and ask questions from each of us. And then we'll have a few of our doctors and different people, professionals that are doing work with us over
Terrific.
the month.
And
Things we're grateful for.
That gave
so.
me an idea I'll talk to you about after the show.
Okay. Yay.
Terrific. And, of course, your third person who's not here today, Josh Carpenter, who does all your social media and everything, is usually in studio with you, and he does all the social media, and he is, by many, considered a social media guru, in effect. So I know he's part of your team on Thursday as well. You can check out their videos. They do videotape the show on the Vegas All Net Radio YouTube channel. You can check out the archives on the VegasAllNetRadio.com website. Click on programs, scroll to Thursday, find their show at 3 to 4. Click on their show page, find all the information that you need. Any sponsors they have, links are there, archives are there, everything is there. I believe on Vegas Unwrapped we did the question thing with you guys, right? We asked you your favorite movie and all that sort of stuff. Did we not do that with you guys?
No, I don't
No.
think so.
No? All right, real quickly. I'm going to see how much time do we have? 1 minute, real quickly. Favorite movie of all time?
Goodfellas.
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman. Favorite curse word?
Can I say it?
You're on internet.
Because the best one. Fuck.
There you go.
Yeah, I have to go with that one.
All right.
Out of my mouth.
I'm throwing the fastball up here. Least favorite curse word?
Oh, the C word. I'm not going
Okay.
to say that one.
C
Same,
word.
same.
All right, last one. When you are at the pearly gates and your God or who you believe in is there to meet you at the pearly gates, what is it that you want them to say to you upon entering?
Thank you for all the work and service that you gave me.
Greetings.
All right.
Take me to your leader.
Take me to your leader. With that does it for this edition of Stars of Vegas All Net Radio. Thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate it. Spending a little extra time for our listeners to get to know more about you and about the show on Thursday. Luminosity Wellness Radio airs Thursdays from 3 to 4 p.m. right here on Vegas All Net Radio. Catch the podcast, catch YouTube. I would tell you who's on next week's show here on Stars of VANR.
But it's a surprise.
But it's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
Surprises, I can't remember who it
Yeah,
is.
that's right.
This Thursday, though, on Vegas Unwrapped, we have pet people coming in.
Yeah, and we're trying to get Christy in here to bring in the kitten from Egypt.
So Steve and Susan are coming back?
Yep, yeah, they'll be here.
And Stacy Ranieri from Ranieri Construction. She was actually on HGTV back in October. She'll be on to talk about that. That's Thursday night, 6 p.m. right here on Vegas All Net Radio. Have a great week from all of us here at Vegas All Net Radio.
Bye.
Thank you.